Hello everybody, this is Cheri at djsundry.blogspot.com and welcome to another of my Close to My Heart Thursday videos. Now by the time you're seeing this, it will probably be closer to Sunday or late Saturday night because I have been sick and haven't really been and busy, and so I am just now getting to the card. But today I have something very special for you. I am going to show you how to take this gorgeous paper pack from Close to My Heart, which this is the Ariana collection, and turn it into a masculine card. Well, how in the world am I going to do that? I'll show you in just a minute, but let's look at the papers in this pack. It comes with several sheets of paper, and Close to My Heart is discontinuing this pack at the end of July 2014. So you want to get your hands on this. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous paper pack. I have to say it's probably even maybe one of my favorite in the spring summer catalog. So this is the one sheet, and this is the back with this kind of green. And if you remember that the tops of these can always be cut off and used for trim. This is another one of them, and the back side of that is the hollyhock colors. There's some gray. There's a couple sheets of gray in the pack. There's a couple sheets of this navy, which I love. I've actually cut into one of these, but there were originally two. Then there is a sheet of this kind of coral color. And then, let's see, that's the same sheet. So then we have this side, and then the opposite side of that is this stripe. So those are the main colors, and you can see my scraps that I have here. And then there's also a sheet of this green. This is the Ariana green. So from this pack, and I'm going to take these two little scraps and set them aside because I may use them. I am going to make a masculine card. Now the only other paper that I needed was a piece of white daisy cardstock to cut for my embellishments, and then, or not my embellishment, but for my contrast, and then to use as my card base. Now I also used a couple of other things. I used the chocolate ink from the Exclusive Inks pads, and I used the pear ink. And then I was so excited. This box just came to me today. The Ariana paper I've had, and it was a gift from my upline actually, for a few weeks ago. She sent it to me. But this is so exciting, and I have been waiting to get these, and these are the watercolor pencils from Close to My Heart. Now if you watch my blog, before I started Close to My Heart, you know that I started really kind of getting into the watercolors, and I have an old inexpensive set of Crayola brand watercolor pencils that I've had, and I wanted these and I've held off. But I decided to go ahead and order them this month because I happen to know that the price is going up on them in the new catalog. So I wanted to get them before the price went up. So I ordered my watercolor pencils, and then I am using, for the stamp set, I am using this month's Stamp of the Month, which is really super fun. It's called Circus Alphabet, and you can get this with any $50 purchase, and that's $50 before tax and shipping and handling. And so I used that, and that's all I used for this card. So let me show you first the card base itself. So I had a piece, oh nope, I have one other thing I'm going to use. I'm going to use these Durables triangle studs, and I'll put links on my blog to all of these things. So I cut my card base out of the Daisy White, and this is just a standard A2 size card, meaning that it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches finished size. So that means I cut an 8 1/2 sheet by 5 1/2 sheet of paper, and then I scored it in the middle and folded it. Now I've already finished off the inside of my card, and so I just went down 1/4 of an inch on the navy and 1/4 of an inch on the printed, but then I went a whole 1/2 an inch down on the green, and I will actually write all of the sizes, and those will be on my blog as well. So then I've taken on the outside and I've completely covered the white. Now typically I don't do that. Typically I leave a little bit of the card base showing just for contrast, but this time I wanted it completely covered. So this is a full 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece. And then I cut the stripe. Now remember, one side of the stripe is striped, the other side is the flower, which on the inside I put this side up front, but this time I want the stripe. So I'm going to have some contrast going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my adhesive and put that on next. That's going to be the very next step of my card. So I'm just going to line that up. Now I notice with this navy, it shows the oils on your hands really well. So you want to make sure that your fingers are not oily like mine are, unless you're covering up the navy completely. But isn't that pretty? I really like that contrast there. So then I cut another strip here. So this piece was the top was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So the next one was 5 1/4 tall by 4 inches wide. And so then I took a piece of this, the same paper, and I cut it at 1 inches by 4 inches. And I'm just going to tape that right across the front, just like that. Now I have to tell you, this is a card for my husband, a just kind of because card, and I'm going to hide it in some of his stuff so that he'll find it when he's not expecting to find it. And so I want it to really stand up, even though I tend to go a little crazy with adhesive, I know, but I really want this to stand up because I'm going to hide it so that he'll find it hopefully tomorrow sometime. So there is the front of my card, and I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to show you the piece that I did with the writing. I have to tell you, this is really fun for me. This stamp set is so fun, and there's so many ideas you can do with this. And this is what I have done. Now I did it all off camera because I wanted it to dry. And so I'm just going to tell you what I did. So I stamped the love out of the uppercase part of the alphabet. And then there's some other stuff hidden in here. I stamped all this with the chocolate. I have pear I and a pear you. So it says I love you. And then in the chocolate then I just went and stamped random letters. Some of them are random, some of them aren't quite as random as you might think, because I put my husband's initials here. My initials with my maiden name are here, and then the initials of our children, the first initial of our children are hidden in there, and then the rest of them are just random. And then I use my watercolored pencils. And I want to show you how I did that on a piece of scrap, because like I said, I wanted to let this dry. Now I was dealing with a few unknowns here. One of the unknowns was I didn't know, because I usually use watercolor paper when I'm doing watercoloring. I wasn't quite sure how the white daisy was going to hold up, and it did pretty well, except for I had a little bit of ink on my fingers, and that's the smudge you see right here. And after the card's done, I'll show you what I'm going to do to fix that, because when I tried to erase it or tried to kind of pick it off, the cardstock just separated. But other than that, it held up really well. The other unknown for me was how well the chocolate would hold up, because it is a water-based dye ink. I wasn't sure if when I started adding water to it, if it would kind of mess up. Now I didn't add a lot of water, so it turned out okay. And then you see the smudge all the way around. I'm going to show you how I did that on another piece of paper. Now the pencil that I used was the Star Spangled Blue, because I thought it was a good match. And when I was coloring my letters, I just kind of started, I actually, on the side of my mat here, I sprayed, and I'm just going to spray a little bit more, a little bit of water. And for the very tip tops of the letter, I dipped my pencil directly into the water. And you can see what a beautiful, bright, bold blue that does. But then the more you come down, it fades out. So that's what I did, is I kind of faded it out. Then I took a little brush, and now this is a water brush that you can actually fill. I didn't do it that way. I again dipped it in the same water I have dipped off the side, and then I just kind of started fading it down like that. And then I went back and added it where I needed to, and that allowed me to get my blending in there the way I wanted to. Now for this edge here, I simply took my water brush, again put a little bit of water on the brush, then I rubbed it off the tip of my pencil, and then I just went around the edge like this. And then if it had, in places that it had too much ink, I dipped it in the clear water again, and I just kind of drug that ink around so that I would just get that nice variation of color all the way around the edge. So that's how I did that. And someday in the future I will show you more videos where we actually use the watercolors, but I just wanted to pull these out and play with them, and I didn't have a lot of time tonight. So the this I just kind of, I didn't even measure this. Initially, if I pulled out my ruler, this piece of paper ends up being about 3 inches by not quite 3 inches tall. And I actually think that I could pull this off here. Let's see, it was, what does it end up being? Just past 2 7/8. And I've got the room over here that I think I could probably kind of cut that off just a little bit. I don't want to cut a lot off because I don't want to go back and redo my blue. So there, we've got that. And then I have a piece of green that I cut at 3 3¼ inches square, and I'm going to center this right in it. Just like this. Set this aside. Now I'm going to not quite center it. I'm going to kind of put it more at the bottom. No, I think I am going to center it. I was going to cut off some of the excess to make it more, to fit more, but I think I'm just going to leave it at 3 1/4 because I like that extra little pop of green that pulls in with the pear. And then what I'm going to do is use my foam tape to give it that little extra pop. This isn't something I'm milling, so I'm not worried at all about bulk. So let's just roll that over here. Like so. Now I need to start a new roll. Now I don't yet have the Close to My Heart foam tape, just simply because I have quite a stash of foam tape that I'm trying to use up. But you can get foam tape from Close to My Heart, and I have seen their foam tape and I really kind of like it. It comes in a roll, actually has 2 different widths on it, and I think that's really cool that they've done that, because you can use what you need a little bit better. You're not tied into one width. So I kind of like that. So be sure and check out the Close to My Heart foam tape. And again, I'll put links to all of that on my blog. So I'm just popping this up just like so. Peel off my tape. I don't have very long fingernails. And we're going to just pop that right in the center. Make sure it's straight. Again, I just eyeball things, and there is that. Now I thought it needed a little bit more than that, so I'm going to pull out my triangle studs. And I can't remember if this is being discontinued at the end of the month or not, but you might want to check those out. And I think I'm going to use the gold or the bronze colored ones. I'm going to kind of put one up here just like that, and then kind of randomly put a couple of them at the bottom here just like that. And there we have our card that says I love you. And then on the inside, even though this is a colored piece of paper, it still is light enough that with a dark ink pen I can go in and write. So there we have a quick and easy card, even though it was kind of a long video, that I made for my husband. So thanks so much for stopping by today, and remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye. Okay, I'm back, and I wanted to show you one last thing. I went back and decided to add a little pop of something to fix that smudge or make it look a little less noticeable. So here's the finished card, and you can see the heart. And let me show you what I did. I have this little Recollections punch here that I just picked up, I think, from a dollar store or a dollar spot at Michael's. It's a little heart, and I punched it in green, and it gave me a heart that looks much like this navy. And I'm showing you this on the navy just because I happen to have it, but also because it will show up really well. Then I have my liquid glass, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the whole top of the heart. Now, this doesn't take very much of it, and it really adds a nice little punch. Now my finger's getting in the way of this. It's much easier to do this when it's actually taped down. But I will actually let this sit here and dry, and then I have a little place on my desk, a holder where I keep little things like this, and I will have a little embellishment there for another time. But when it dries clear and looks more like what I have here. And I don't know how well you're able to see that, but it just adds just that little extra pop of sparkle and shine. And also it ties in all the greens. So there we have our finished card. Thanks so much for stopping by today. Remember, take some time to enjoy the little things. Have a great day. Bye.